Alright guys, now that I've got the fire lit and under control, got past that initial flare up, now we are into somewhat of a medium fire. I do have to have flame right now because I need a nice hot coal base. And basically once that's ready I can start cooking. So I'm going to be cooking sausages over the fire, and I'm going to be doing it in a little bit of a different fashion. I've done this many times before, but I've never actually filmed it. Basically, I'm just going to share it with you, come right out with it. A piece of snare wire. So I have large sausages, they're already pre-cooked, so I just need to heat them up. I could do them on a stick, much like a marshmallow, you know, put the hot dog on there, sausage on there, prop it over the fire. Could do it that way, but I've actually adopted a method of using wire and stringing it across two sticks and basically cooking it that way. I found that the wire gets hot and it actually cooks from the outside in from the fire, but from the inside out with the hot wire. So I'm going to get two sticks staked in the ground and run you guys how I do this. Just kind of run you guys through it, and maybe someone out there kind of find it interesting, maybe not. It works really well for me. Also, sometimes when you put a stick through a hot dog, when the hot dog cooks, it actually splits and then falls off in the fire. That could be a problem, especially with these sausages where they are larger. They tend to split and fall off. So this hot wire method works really well. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, so 4 sausages. I've got this thick gauge wire. Now I have used snare wire for this in the past and it works really well. I just happen to have this really thick gauge wire laying around, so I stuffed it in my backpack. This is basically foolproof. I mean, it works really well. There's a couple ways you could do this, and actually you could do kebabs like this as well. So if I wanted to cut the sausages up into medallions and put them on there one at a time, maybe do peppers in between them and so on and so forth, you can actually do kebabs on the wire, and then when it's done you take it off the fire with a glove and basically run it all off on a plate, or you could just eat it right off the wire once the wire cools down. So I've got my 2 steaks in there in the ground. Right now there's too much flame, but well, I see Boomer smells the sausages. Keep this wire out from poking him in the eyeball. Jam that end in the ground. So just basically feed the sausage onto it. Wrap one end around one steak, the other end around the other wood steak, and you're cooking. Very simple. I basically started doing this. I was out one time in the winter, and I was getting really tired of having sausages in like -10, -15 degrees Celsius. The outside of them was cooked, but the inside was not. And it was a problem because I was cooking sausages that were actually raw, so they had to be cooked all the way through. And it was just really difficult to find an even heat over the open fire to cook them all the way through so I wasn't eating raw meat. And often the outsides of them burned, and it was obviously a problem. I didn't like that. So I had some snare wire in my my backpack at that point in time because I was snaring rabbits, and this is what I did, and it worked out really well. So I've been doing it ever since. This is the first time I've shared it though, so hopefully someone enjoys this little hack. So sometimes what I will do is I'll put a split in the wood and basically bend the end of the wire so it can't fall through the slit, and I'll pass the wire through, kind of like this, like you slide it through and then curl one end like that so it can't fall. I'm not going to worry about that today. I'm actually just going to coil it around the log or the steak. Problem is, I did not bring gloves. So yeah, my hands are probably going to get burned here. Didn't really think that part through, but it will be totally fine. Burns heal, right? Ow, that's really hot. Okay, so there, and string this guy around there. It doesn't have to be crazy tight either. I mean, right there, like, boom, done. It's cooking. And the cool thing with the wire is you don't have to rotate the whole rotisserie. You can just literally grab a hold of the sausage and just give it a little spin. So don't straighten the wire out totally straight. You do want a couple kinks and waves in there, and when you rotate the food, that kink in the wave in the wire will actually stop it from rotating back to the spot where you didn't want it to be rotated to. So, cooking hack in the forest. Hopefully somebody, that's hot. Woo! Yeah, 2 fingers burned. So hopefully somebody appreciates this. Like I said, it's been working for me for years. And yeah, no gloves, so I highly recommend you bring gloves. I'm a sucker for punishment. I mean, I'll get burned, cut, bruised, battered, and I just keep going. Not a whole lot stops me. So those are gonna cook up nice and slow. I do have one here for Boomer. Patiently, he's vibrating. He wants that so bad. So I'm gonna cut this up into little pieces because he wants that really bad. We'll give that one to him, and I'm going to cook up 3. I'm probably only going to eat 2, so more than likely he'll probably get another one. He does have dog food here as well, which he already had, so this is more of a treat for him. So yeah, the clouds are rolling in continuously still. It does look like it's going to rain. Who knows? But right now, I'm going to enjoy the crackling fire and cook up some food. Alright guys, nightfall is here and the temperature has definitely changed. Man, fog and wind and clouds. It is not a summer day anymore. So there's a lake just off in the distance. I walked over to the edge of the lake just to rinse out some dishes. What a moody and epic sunset that was. The clouds and the fog just rolling across the lake. A little band of color in there for a sunset. And a couple loons out there on the lake making calls to each other, which was pretty awesome too. So I gotta say, this is definitely turning out to be a very interesting adventure. So I'm really glad I did go ahead and put the tarp up, and I am actually going to be putting on the rainfly because there's a lot of moisture just whipping through this. It reminds me of Sleepy Hollow the movie, to be honest. The fog and the mist is just pushing through the forest right now. Everything is getting a little bit wet, so I am going to likely have to put the rainfly over the tent and probably drop one side of the tarp to better block the bicycle overnight. Who knows, we'll have to see what happens, but definitely a moist one out here. So I've got a hoodie with me. I'm probably going to throw my hoodie on shortly. Being really close to the fire, it's actually really nice right now. Boomer is falling asleep over away from the fire. He's getting a little bit of the heat lofting towards him, which he likes. And yeah, I gotta say, this is pretty awesome. I'm really enjoying this. So I'm gonna keep the fire low and kind of burning a little bit slow here. I did put on 2 rounds of this somewhat green wood over here, and it seems to be doing the job really well at just kind of smoldering and keeping the flames down quite a bit. And the wind is going this way, which is really helpful to keep the embers from hitting the tarp or the tent. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rainfly on in a few minutes and just get everything kind of squared away before it is total darkness out here, because it's going to be really hard to find things even with the light on. The leaf matter and stuff down here just casts really weird shadows, and sometimes it's easy to lose a spoon or a fork or a headlamp or something. So I'm going to do a once over, get tidied up, and get settled in for the night. Alright guys, total darkness is pretty much here, and I've got a lot of firewood. This stuff is burning really low and slow. I'm actually quite surprised for being softwood. It's kind of burning an awful lot like hardwood, to be quite frank about that. I mean, normally this stuff goes up really fast, but it seems to be doing the job, so it's putting out a ton of heat. Loads of heat. So I'm probably not even going to burn all this. I'm probably going to put on I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 of these rounds. And I'm gonna jump inside the tent with the tent fly wide open. I think that's how I'm gonna sleep, is with the fly wide open. I'll zip the mesh door shut, obviously, but being underneath of the tarp, and most of that moistness and fog is kind of drifting through the woods this way, so it's not actually going into the door of the tent. I think I could pretty much lay in there and enjoy a view of the campfire from inside for quite a while anyways. I'm not going to fall asleep with the fire burning like that, of course, but I'll at least be able to watch the fire from inside and kind of lounge inside the tent. Maybe get changed out of some of these clothes that are drenched in sweat from the day. Unfortunately, I don't have another pair of pants or shirt, so I'm going to be basically stripping down to my boxers and drape that sleeping bag over top of me, and that's pretty much going to be it. And I'm back into these dirty, disgusting clothes tomorrow for a morning of coffee and a bike ride out of here. So definitely enjoyable. It's almost the end of summer and getting into that nice, cool, crisp air that I like a lot. Summer offers a little bit of, you know, pros and cons there. So does the winter, but for me, summertime, I just don't like the heat. I don't like the humidity. So I'm excited for fall and winter. But for now, I'm just going to chill out in front of the fire, and I'll be inside of the tent momentarily, get all changed, or at least stripped down, get inside the sleeping bag and whatnot, and relax and enjoy the evening. Alright guys, jumping inside of the tent right now. We have an epic view at this campfire right now. 2 thumbs up. This light is really bright though. Dim that down just a tiny bit. We've got a very, very nice view looking out here. I've got to get out of these clothes because in this sleeping bag and sleeping pad being insulated, I could feel the heat. Oddly enough, the heat from that fire is lofting inside of the tent because it's getting stuck underneath of the tarp above. So it's actually holding a lot of heat. And, well, it's rather uncomfortable right now. So Boomer has to get his little tent slippers on, which I brought. I don't want his nails puncturing his pad. He does have a fair bit of room off to the side, though, to lay. And he's actually enjoying the floor quite a bit. He keeps going down and up just to get the cold floor and then coming up to get warm. So he's kind of in between himself. I got a feeling once I put my pants down on the floor, he'll be totally fine, as he usually is with winter time. So we're going to kick back, enjoy our tent life with this awesome view of the campfire, and we'll catch up with you guys first thing in the morning for some coffee. Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful morning out here today. We're up very early. We've got the fire going. It is actually cold enough, as you guys can probably tell by my hat and my sweater, that it's almost to the end of summer, so it's cold enough to bundle up a little bit, and actually chilly without the sweater on, so I'm very happy with that. There are no mosquitoes out this morning. The campfire is actually needed for a little bit of warmth, which is quite surprising despite the no rain last night and the high temps yesterday. Smoke's kind of wafting around. It's actually warm, very, very comfortable. So last night's sleep was extremely comfortable. Had the fire going, much like right now, very small. Laid inside the tent, had a nice view of that until it was totally out. There was 1 or 2 drops that I did hear spatter on the tarp. No actual heavy rain though, so kind of good and kind of bad with that. I mean, if it did start raining last night, it would most likely still be raining today. And to be quite honest, it looks like it's going to rain a little later on today, which is a good thing I've got this tarp out. Bike and everything is situated underneath of it, so if it does turn to rain, I'll be totally fine. And yeah, last night was really great. I had a really, really good sleep, which I'm emphasizing that because given the circumstances with the bike and everything else has kind of rattled my brain, you know, as far as a filmmaker and being out here filming this stuff. But I just kind of flipped the mental switch off last night, and just the only thing that mattered was Boomer and the campfire, to be quite honest. So really good sleep. I feel great this morning. I'm actually looking forward to getting back on the bike and heading out of the forest and down a dirt road and some of the trails in this nice cool fall air, or early fall air I should say. And yeah, very, very happy with this adventure. So no breakfast this morning as far as cooked food. I did have a granola bar inside of the tent this morning. Boomer did have some food as well. He's been out here chasing squirrels and frogs. Very strange dog. He'll chase anything. But I'm just going to let this fire burn down, let it do its thing, enjoy my coffee, and then slowly pack up the gear that I brought with me and get it onto the bike. I do want to talk about the bike just for a moment because it is bare bones right now. I literally haven't done anything to it, but I do have plans for this. So I'm going to enjoy my coffee and maybe we'll jump into that for a few minutes. Alright guys, talking about the bike that I chose to bring with me today. So this is kind of a unique looking bike in my opinion. It is an e-bike, meaning it's electric. It is a fat bike, meaning it has larger tires. But it's kind of a little bit of a retro, almost like a dirt bike looking bicycle. So this being an e-bike, it can be powered both electrically and non-electrically. There is a nice LCD panel up here, a removable battery, a motor built into the hub in the rear. And I've got to say, I'm actually really impressed with this. So using an e-bike of this size works really well for me due to its packability. I know there's a lot of larger, faster e-bikes out there, but this right now, if you guys are new to the channel, you probably may not know that I do a lot of van camping and a lot of Jeep camping. This small bike with the handlebars folded down actually fits inside of my van and my Jeep very, very well, making this an awesome addition to my arsenal of gear and to the channel and my lifestyle as well. Being able to load this up and actually travel out into the forest, much like I did yesterday and much like I'm going to do today when I leave. So there's a couple things and room for improvement on this bike. One, the light is not the greatest, so I think what I'm going to do is build a bracket to replace this light, and I'm going to put on 2 LED like ditch lights that I have on the hood of my Jeep. I'm going to mount that in there and mount it into the wiring harness that's already on here, so it'll be a factory switch running off the battery, much like this one is. Also, there is a ton of room on this bike for adding gear. So I could put a handlebar bag on here and put my sleeping bag or tent like right here, strap it in. There's a nice flat spot here to add like a little gas tank bag, much like mountain biking, to put like phone and keys and stuff in. There's a ton of room in the frame area to add additional bags and storage. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because if I go ahead and do those modifications to this, I will be able to take a lot of weight off of my body while I'm biking. Meaning when I get off of this and throw the kickstand down, I could basically get off the bike and maybe stop and do some fishing or stop and do like a little day lunch while I'm traveling, instead of having a huge backpack on my back. This thing does go quite fast and it does have a long range. This is not going to be a review of this bike. Keep in mind, this is my first time using it out on an actual real life adventure. So I will be talking about this in a separate video, but I just want to touch on it very briefly because I know people are going to ask. It is the BK29 from Hitway. You guys can see the brand down there on the side. And so far, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. I actually really do enjoy it. Like I said, this is not my first time using it. This is my first time using it in an adventure camping situation. And it being small and nimble, I was actually able to get through the woods, which on my larger bikes is very, very difficult. This is no replacement to a regular bike, a non-e-bike, in my opinion. Because if you're out here on multi-day trips and your battery goes dead, it turns back into a heavy regular bike. Where a regular bike, you don't have to worry about charging. It's going to go no matter what, as long as it's mechanically well. So this is a very fun option for getting out to areas that are maybe a little bit farther. You don't have to use the E function, you can just pedal. And then on the way back, maybe like today, I'm actually going to be using the electric motor a lot today because my legs are kind of beat from yesterday pedaling. And I just want a little bit of a break. So today I saved the juice in the battery specifically for the ride out. So I'm just going to be on the throttle all the way. I probably won't even touch the pedals, to be totally straightforward and honest with you. I saved the battery just for that. So all in all, bike is doing really, really well. And I think it's a really fun way to mix into camping. Alright guys, I've got everything packed into my backpack right here behind me, and the only thing that I have to get packed into another bag is Boomer, and he's playing hard to get right now. He actually took off in the woods. He does not want to leave right now. So it's going to be a little bit of a struggle trying to convince him that it's time to go back to our comfy vehicle where there's all kinds of food and water and comfy blankets. Right now he's sitting over there just beady-eyed staring at me in between the trees like, not having it. He does enjoy it. Just sometimes when he's comfortable chasing squirrels and doing what he wants to do, he's kind of like a child. He doesn't want to go home. So we do have to go home though, because it is going to start raining and everything's packed away. So Couple things I want to mention. One, I really did enjoy this video. I really enjoyed this adventure. Let me know your comments on the e-bike. Not just specifically this e-bike, maybe specifically this e-bike. Let me know what you think about this setup. But also, what do you guys think about the longevity or the pros and cons and the fun factor of e-bike camping? Because I really had a lot of fun on this adventure, to be completely transparent about that. This was fun. I felt like a little kid for a moment there riding through the woods on this. I had a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to using it again. So another thing I want to mention is currently here on Lone Wolf 902, I've been doing one part on Friday for camping adventures and the second part on Sundays. I'm contemplating and thinking about going back to doing only one part overnighters, meaning no more part one, part two, and maybe moving it to Saturday. So Saturday would be the day, somewhere's in the weekend. What do you guys think about that? So I don't want to lose the cinematics. I mean, I am a cinematic outdoors person. I like producing cinematic, high quality videos of camping. I'm never going to stop that, so we're always going to use that as the staple content for Lone Wolf 902. However, I did go back to my channel and read in the description of the channel that I wrote when I first started this back in 2019. And I've never changed that statement to my knowledge. I'm quite positive it's always been the same. And in there it says that I want to inspire others to get outdoors and camp. And I can't really inspire other people to get out and camp if I'm not teaching skills and giving information. Sure, it's fun to watch me go camping, and yes, I do touch on kind of some skills and some gear while I'm camping, but I really don't do any more gear review videos or how-to videos. Now recently, if you guys have been paying attention to the channel, I have gotten back into doing some gear reviews, and those are specifically to point you guys and girls, the viewers of Lone Wolf 902, into the gear that I like to use. I don't review things that I don't like, and if it makes it into my video, obviously I like it and I do speak highly of it and I recommend it. So going back to gear reviews and how-to videos, I would really like to get back into doing a lot of those somewhere in between the week, like maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. Just rolling a few videos in for more knowledge, more content, more of the channel for you guys, while still continuing to do the cinematic camping adventures that I'm known for. So let me know what you guys think about that, because I'm contemplating doing maybe a poll. I might put it up at the beginning of the week, giving you guys 3 options on a how-to video, and whatever gets the highest vote, that'll be the topic for the next how-to video, and so on and so forth. If I have, 3 tents that I want to review, maybe I'll give you guys the option of which one's the next one to review. So I want to go back to adding more original content that I started the channel out doing and giving back to you guys, because it's fun. Like I said, it's fun to watch me go camping and put this stuff to use, but there needs to be a backstory as pros and cons and things to be aware of before purchasing anything you see me use, because I do not do affiliate links. I do not do sponsored promos. I do not do discount codes. I get 0 commission on anything that I show. That's the reason why I never tell people to subscribe. I never tell people to like or share. I never say, hey, discount code below. Would I like to offer discount codes to you guys? Sure. And have I been offered by many companies? Absolutely. But I believe if I get any kind of commission or kickback for what I'm saying, then realistically I'm not telling the truth, because I would be saying what I'm being paid to say. So that's the reason why I scrubbed all of that clean to my channel from the very beginning. I don't tell people to subscribe, like, or share either, because I want you to make that decision for yourself. Thank you to almost 500,000 of you for subscribing. Very, very much. You guys and girls are absolutely incredible. And I will continue making content for all of you. So, that's a lot. That's a lot of information. Boomer's still sitting over there nice and pretty, peeking through the trees. So I got to go wrangle him up and get him back in the chest bag. And we're going to get out of here. So peace out, guys. I'll see you in the next adventure. Boomer. Boomer, time to go home. Boomer. Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go? Do you want to go home? Do you want to go home? Oh no. I packed your backpack in my backpack. Ugh. No. Alright, we gotta unpack the bag before you can get in. Do you wanna go home? Do you wanna go home? You don't wanna go in the bag, do you? Alright, maybe you can run beside the bike for a little bit.